Mr. Liu won the Capital Carnival, but lost everything to greed and fraud. Luckin's drama, soaring to heaven.
Who would have thought that a coffee giant that went public in the US in just 18 months and overtook Starbucks in 2 years would lose 97% of its market value overnight, falling from the peak to the abyss? This isn't a movie script. It's the real-life capital farce played out by Luckin Coffee. And the root of it all was destined from the day the brand was born.
The masterminds behind it were a group of ambitious players, Boss Liu and Georgia. Back in 2017, they spotted a gap in China's coffee market. Starbucks sold the third-place experience with high prices and poor convenience, putting it out of reach for ordinary young people. Niche coffee brands, meanwhile, struggled to scale. So Luckin was born, taking an unconventional path from the start. Its whole strategy centered on burning cash for scale.
There were no ribbon cuttings, no promotions. Luckin's first store opened quietly in Beijing's Galaxy Soho, with a team of young people setting up coffee machines overnight. A disruptive industry boom had begun. They ditched dine-in space, only opening small 10-square-meter pickup stores, slashing rent costs drastically. New users got free first drinks, buy one get one free deals, and consistent 38% off coupons. They flooded the market with subsidies, making a latte cost just 10 yuan after discounts, less than half the price of Starbucks. Boss Liu's plan was shrewd. He wasn't chasing short-term profits. He wanted to seize market share fast and impress investors. After all, in capital markets, scale is power, and growth is king. To hit that goal, Luckin expanded at a breathless pace. By the end of 2018, it had over 2,000 stores. By the end of 2019, that number surged to 4,507, surpassing Starbucks, which had been in China for 20 years, to become the country's largest coffee chain by store count.
The capital frenzy followed as expected. In May 2019, just 18 months after its founding, Luckin listed on the Nasdaq, setting the record for the world's fastest IPO. Its share price jumped nearly 20% on its first day of trading, pushing its market value to $7 billion. Georgia stood on the IPO podium full of confidence, but no one knew the turmoil lurking beneath the glossy surface.
Behind the wild expansion lay unsustainable losses. Individual Luckin stores simply weren't profitable. Heavy subsidies, rent, and labor costs weighed heavily on the company, with real single-store loss rates exceeding 25%. But investors demanded high-growth stories. Any slowdown would send the stock crashing. So Boss Liu and his team turned to a path of no return: financial fraud.
They began fabricating orders and tampering with store system data, inflating real daily sales of 600 cups per store to 1,200. They overstated product prices, booking discounted 9.9 yuan coffee at full price in financial reports. They even faked advertising expenses through related parties to cover up real losses. This systematic fraud started right before the IPO, all to weave a lie of impending profitability.
Paper can never wrap up fire. During the 2020 Spring Festival, an 89-page report tore apart Luckin's false image. Short seller Muddy Waters deployed 92 full-time investigators and over 1,400 part-timers to monitor nearly 1,000 stores, recording tens of thousands of hours of surveillance footage and collecting over 20,000 receipts. With irrefutable evidence, it proved Luckin had inflated same-store sales by up to 88% in the second half of 2019.
Luckin's management immediately issued a tough denial, releasing videos of long store queues to whitewash itself. For a while, the market was fooled and the stock price rebounded quickly. But the more perfect the lie, the more devastating its collapse. Just 2 months later, Luckin suddenly confessed, admitting it had overstated revenue by more than 2.1 billion yuan and fake profits of 900 million yuan in the second half of 2019, a staggering scale of fraud.
That day marked Luckin's doomsday. When EOS trading opened, Luckin's shares plummeted 85% in pre-market trading, triggering 6 circuit breakers and multiple trading halts. It closed at just $6.40, wiping out over $5 billion in market value in a single day. A once beloved capital darling instantly became a reviled fraud.
A chain reaction followed. NASDAQ issued a delisting notice, and Luckin had no choice but to accept being delisted and moved to the over-the-counter pink sheet market. Its market value shrank from a peak of $12.9 billion to a mere $320 million. Regulators in both China and the US cracked down. China fined it 61 million yuan. The US SEC imposed a $180 million penalty, and combined with a $187.5 million settlement for investor class action lawsuits, Luckin was suddenly saddled with nearly 2.4 billion yuan in debt.
Boss Lou and Georgia were swiftly fired. The core team fell apart. Boss Lou's shares were forcibly liquidated, and he lost all control of Luckin. Panic spread through the offices. Veteran employees resigned in droves. Suppliers besieged headquarters demanding payments, and thousands of loss-making stores were shut down. The outside world unanimously declared Luckin was finished for good. But no one expected this condemned brand to claw its way back from the brink. After the new management took over, they cut unprofitable stores, halted excessive subsidies, and focused on products. Then, Coconut Latte became an unexpected blockbuster, crashing the app on its launch day and selling over 70 million cups in 6 months, directly pushing Luckin to profitability.
Today, Luckin has over 30,000 stores, its revenue surpassing Starbucks China, and it even plans to relist on the main US stock market. Yet, the scars from the fraud crisis sparked by its reckless expansion have never faded.
Mr. Liu won the Capital Carnival, but lost everything to greed and fraud. Luckin's drama, soaring to heaven, crashing into hell, then rising again from the ashes, is far more than one coffee brand's rise and fall. It stands as the most brutal warning on Wall Street. Legends built on bubbles will always collapse. Only strength rooted in reality can survive every storm, stand till the end, and win in the end.